I found myself typing the basic, repetitive code in similar patterns. I thought, why am I typing this out by hand when all I really need to know is just the names and types without thinking any logic in it? So I made a tool using a script language to generate code from database schema info. It was a huge time saver, and I used it for more than a decade. If you do the same thing over and over, you should automate it unless you enjoy the masochistic pleasure of typing obvious code. That's why I created DbdbTap after my tool that I mentioned earlier. I'm using this newly built tool in a real-world project for a real customer nowadays. To get your attention, I made a comparison video of typing everything out manually and generating code using DbdbTap. You are watching the result of the comparison. The left shows typing 2 out of 10 backend files, while the right shows generating all 10 files with DbdbTap. Both are compressed to 2 minutes. The conclusion says DbdbTap wins. It took 41 minutes to type all 10 files manually, and less than 8 minutes to generate all 10 files with DbdbTap. That's just 20% of the time for fully functional code. Let's not watch this boring comparison thoroughly. I don't want to waste your time for that anymore. Let me tell you the key features of DbdbTap. First up is code generation using templates and schema info. You make a template for a VO, DTO, DAO, or whatever you want to generate. Then you apply the template to a table or view schema info to generate the code. The more tables, views, and columns you have, the more time you'll save. You can create multiple projects, each managing its own templates and database schema info. We currently support MySQL, MariaDB, Oracle, and PostgreSQL. You can browse the schema info of the database you are using without leaving the tool. You can either use JDBC connection or a simple 3-step direct input process to feed in your schema info. Templates are managed in groups. I would recommend creating groups based on software layers of the app you are building. You can invite your dev buddies to join the project. Ask any user to manage any group if you think she or he is capable of it, especially making templates. It's possible to assign a project manager to oversee the whole project. You use so-called template tags in the template, but they can't cover every scenario. That's why we let you extend them using JavaScript. You can also declare and use user-defined constants for your own project. DbdbTap speaks Korean, English, and Spanish. Language is a personal setting, independent of projects. If you're leaving the company, you can hand over your project to another user attending the project. So what's in it for you when using DbdbTap? It saves your time by generating basic code using templates and schema info. It prevents typos and unnecessary debugging sessions caused by them, because of the same reason. It keeps your design patterns consistent thanks to using templates. Names from the schema info will be reflected in the names of the generated classes, functions, and variables, which keeps the naming conventions consistent too. And every benefit so far improves code readability. Every member of the project understands the schema info and design patterns, so that basic understanding is shared among the team members and you don't have to explain the same thing over and over in the meeting. There might be more than these, but let's not be too talkative. All you need is a Google account to use the service. We only collect your email address from the account for essential communications like password resets or legal notices. But what about Copilot or Cursor AI? You can ask it and it's a fair question. Well, I use paid Copilot too. I feel like I'm stupid when I can't have access to it and I love it most of the time. But I do use DbdbTap alongside it. They're like peanut butter and jelly. Different but complementary. Getting Copilot to act like DbdbTap requires a lot of hand-holding. Inputting schema info, providing prompts, and double-checking the sometimes wonky output. My workflow: generate initial code with DbdbTap, then let Copilot assist with the logic. These tools aren't rivals, they're dance partners in your coding tango. It takes two to tango, right? DbdbTap is the culmination of tools I've used for around 15 years. It's not fancy, but it's practical in my humble opinion. Visit DbdbTap.com and give it a try, please. Next time, we'll dive deeper into template and code generation. Until then, happy coding.